Hello, everybody. Today I can prepare for my geometry quarterly exam by practicing. There are 24 questions on the review sheet, which means there are going to be 12 on the test, two of each type. Let's go. When you see parallel, you need to think this picture. Parallel lines cut by a transversal, and you need to follow the transversal. So, let's put the information into the picture first. If angle 1 is 63, I'm going to extend my parallel lines, extend and follow my transversal. So that transversal hits at S, and then if I follow it, it hits at T. So if these angles are 63, then the angles down at T are 63. Now that I'm inside of a triangle, the angles of a triangle add to 180, so I do 90, because that right angle is 90, plus 63, and I subtract from 180, and angle 2 is 27. Follow the transversal. If these are 63, it hits the transversal hits the other parallel line at T, so those are 63, and once I'm inside of a triangle, the angles must add to 180. Number 3, HN bisects angle KNA. Well, if HN bisects angle KNA, if HN punches angle KNA, who gets punched, who gets bisected? KNA. So KNA is an angle with a vertex at N. So those are my two congruent angles. That's all I know. Which of the choices has that? Choice 4. I also do know that, let's say this green angle here is half of this red angle, so I could say that angle KNH is half of angle KNA. That would be a true statement. That's not quite there, but understand that the two halves are equal and each half is half of the whole. Now, on the review sheet, you have an angle bisector and you have a line bisector. So one of those will be the one that comes up. So let's talk about both. So here, HN bisects KA. HN punches KA. Who's getting punched? Who's getting bisected? KA. So if KA is bisected, if this blue line is cut in half, your two halves are KH and HA. That's all I know. That's choice 3. Similarly, I can say that the green is half of the red. I can say that KH is half of KA. That is true as well, but that's not one of the choices. This is similar to number 1. Whenever you see that two segments are congruent, mark the sides, and more importantly, mark the angles opposite them. An isosceles triangle is two congruent sides and two congruent angles. So if SR is congruent to RA, I must then mark that those two angles opposite them are congruent as well. Very, very important. From there, look for linear pairs. Linear pairs add to 180. And look for angles of a triangle, which we talked about before, which add to 180. So if SRA, R is 40, since S and A are congruent, I can do 180 minus 40 is 140, and then 140 divided by 2 is 70, 70 and 70. Once I have that, I have a linear pair. When I have a linear pair, I subtract from 180. I got ABE, that's angle B is 30. And now I see my green triangle where I have two angles and I want to find the third. So whenever I have two angles and I want to find the third in a triangle, I add them up and subtract from 180. Look for linear pairs. Look for angles of a triangle. It's asking for BEA, that's 40. And if they tell you that two sides are congruent, mark the sides and the angles opposite them. So you'll definitely see one of those. Number 7, line of reflection equals line of symmetry. Center rotation equals center of shape. Two rules for this. Line of reflection is equal to the line of symmetry. That's if it's a reflection, to map it onto itself. And for a rotation, center rotation equals center of shape. The center of rotation must equal the center of the shape. So, reflection over the x-axis. Is the x-axis a line of symmetry? Does it cut the shape exactly in half? Yes. That maps it onto itself. It says which does not. Either way, I'm going to go through all four choices. A reflection over the line x equals 4. If you don't know what x equals 4 is, you are going to get multiple questions wrong on your exam. Yancey knows. Yancey has X-ray vision. If it's y equals a number, it is a horizontal line. If it's x equals a number, it's a v, vertical line. So x equals 4. I go to 1, 2, 3, 4 on the x-axis, and I draw a vertical line. Is that a line of symmetry? Is that cutting the shape exactly in half? Yes. Center rotation equals center of shape. Rotation of 180 centered at the origin. Is the origin the center of the shape? No. That will not map it onto itself. 4, 0 is 4, 0 the center of the shape? Yes, that will map it onto itself. And as far as the degree measure, it's geometric common sense. Yes, 180 will land in itself. Which one will not? Choice 3. Line of reflection must equal the line of symmetry to map onto itself, and the center of rotation must be the center of the shape. We talked about this earlier in a different context. The angles of a triangle add to equal 180. So, if they give you algebraic expressions, the angles of a triangle add to equal 180. From here, we do the algebra. 7x, 9x, 3x, 19x. Positive 6 and positive 4 is positive 10. Minus 20 is minus 10 equals 180. Plus 10 plus 10. 19x equals 190. Divide by 19. X is 10. Now that I have x, I can substitute into the expressions. Very good. Sorry, I got a little delay there. So 7 times 10 plus 6, 9 times 10 minus 20, 3 times 10 plus 4, that's 76, that's 70, that's 34, and you can use a calculator as needed. So let's just bring that to space. I've got 76, 70, 34. Now you need to know your types of triangles. Acute is all less than 90. This is all less than 90, so it's acute. Obtuse, one of them is more than 90. Don't have that. Right, one of them is exactly 90. Don't have that. Scalene, they're all different. Are they all different? Yes, so this is scalene. Isosceles, 2 of them are the same. Don't have that. Equilateral, 3 are the same. Don't have that. This triangle is acute and scalene. So you'll have one of those on your quarterly exam. Under which transformation is the image not congruent? Well, all transformations, they all are rigid motions. They all produce a congruent figure except dilation. Dilation, by definition, changes size. If the size is changed, it's not congruent to the original. They all produce a congruent figure except dilation. So this is probably the easiest question to get correct on your quarterly exam. If it says which does not produce a congruent figure, the answer is always dilation. That's it. Moving on. So this is the second part of the song we did earlier. Center, line of reflection equals line of symmetry. Center rotation equals center of shape. Min rotation is 360 over n and any multiple of that. To do your regular polygon rotations, you start with 360 over n. You need to know that pentagon is 5, hexagon is 6, octagon is 8, decagon is 10. So decagon is 10. I start with 360 over 10. I get 36. Any multiple of that will also map it onto itself. So which of those is a multiple of 36? Well, can I do 54 divided by 36 evenly? Nope. 162 divided by 36 evenly? Nope. Choice 3, 198 divided by 36 evenly? Nope. I hope it's choice 4, 252 divided by 36 evenly? Yes. Goes in evenly. It's 36 times 7. That's your answer. Two sides of a triangle are 7 and 11. The third side can be. So, for sides of a triangle, the two smallest must add to be more than the third. And there's a kind of a shortcut for one where they give you two sides. We subtract the two sides. We add the two sides. Any number that's in between 4 and 18, not including 4 and 18, can be the third side. 4 is not between 4 and 18, not including 4 and 18. Neither is 18. 8 is between 4 and 18. 21 isn't. The answer is choice 3. And the other way to do that, if I go through each choice, if the sides are 7, 11, and 8, do the two smaller sides add to be more than the third side? Yes. If I pick something like choice 1, and I did 7, 11, and 4, the two smallest sides would be 4 and 7. That's not more than 11. So that's, again, why that one can't be the answer. So the easier way to do this is to just subtract them and add them. Any number in between those values, not including those values, could be the third side. Or you can go through each choice and see if the two smaller sides add to be more than the third. If a rotation or a translation or a reflection happens, it produces a congruent figure. So basically, all this is saying that these triangles are congruent. And I know that the corresponding parts must be congruent. I can't see what corresponds to what because these pictures are not good, so I'm going to draw my own pictures. I'm going to draw A, B, C, D, E, F. I must label them in the same order. If A goes left, top, right for ABC, D, E, F must also be left, top, right. I fill the information into the picture. AB is 8, BC is 11, AC is 14, DE is 3x minus 1. Now, I know that my corresponding parts are the same. The only parts that correspond are this one and this one. And since they correspond, they must be equal. So I set 8 equal to 3x minus 1. Now I do some algebra. 9 equals 3x, divide by 3. X is 3. Let's answer the question. It's asking for x. I'm done. If it asked for DE, then I would substitute in to 3x minus 1, but it's not, so I'm done. Draw your triangle separately. Set the corresponding parts equal to each other. All right, we're getting close to the end here. I have an exterior angle. The rule for the exterior angle is the two interior angles add to equal the exterior angle. So, interior plus interior equals exterior. When they're all inside the triangle, they add to 180. When you have an exterior angle, the interiors add to equal the exterior. Now I do the algebra. 4x plus 50 equals 6x. Bring all x's to one side. X is 25. And again, I said it in class. If you can't do the 7th grade algebra, don't let that make you get geometry questions wrong. I don't want you to use this. I don't want this to be your go-to. But at this point, if you're taking a test and you need it, use the equation solver. Math, up, enter. Type the left-hand side in. X plus 40 plus 3x plus 10. Type the right-hand side in, 6x. Okay, solve, and you'll get your answer. Again, that's not the ideal way to do this, but if at this point you still can't solve a linear equation, don't get these geometry questions wrong. Just use the equation solver. Now, it's asking us a few questions. It's asking us first for angle CAB. CAB is x plus 40. So it's 25 plus 40, which is 65. Now, it's asking if the triangle is acute, right, or obtuse, kind of like what we did earlier. And in order to do that, I need all the angles. So now I'm going to substitute into 3x plus 10. That's 85. And now that I have two angles of the triangle, I can add them and subtract from 180 for the third, which would be 30. So my angles are 30, 65, and 85. Is it acute, right, or obtuse? Well, since they're all less than 90, it's acute. They are all less than 90. So again, we have an exterior angle. The two interior angles add to equal the exterior angle. I want to reflect over y equals -1. Well, in order to reflect over y equals -1, I need to start by graphing y equals -1. Do you know what y equals -1 is? Yancey does. Yancey has X-ray vision, YH. Y equals the number is a horizontal line. So at -1, I make a horizontal line. That's the line I'm going to be counting to. A is -4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. B is 1, 5. C is 1, 2. D is -6, 2. So now I am going to count to what I'm reflecting over. I'm going to count to that green line. So for C, I'm going down 1, 2, 3. So I go down 1, 2, 3. That's C prime. For B, it's down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. For D, it is 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. And for A, it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's A prime. Connect them. It's asking for the coordinates. I even bolded it for you there. State the coordinates. So now that I have them, I'm going to state them. A prime, B prime, C prime, D prime. A prime looks like -5, -7. B prime looks like 1, -7. C prime is 1, -4. And D prime is -6, -4. To do a reflection, count to what you're reflecting over. Make sure you graph what you're reflecting over before you reflect over it. Yancey has X-ray vision. If it's y equals a number, it's a horizontal line. If it's x equals a number, then it's a vertical line. And finally, check for orientation. A, B, C, D, E, A, B, C, D, E. This one is going clockwise. This one is going clockwise. Same rotation, state center. Make sure you state the center. That's a common mistake that students make, is forgetting to state the center. Now, geometric common sense. How many degrees in which direction? Well, this piece was horizontal, it became vertical, therefore it must be 90, and geometric common sense is going counterclockwise. So it's a rotation of 90 degrees counterclockwise. Don't forget to state the center. Use one of those points as the center. I'm going to choose A. There's really an infinite number of centers you can do, but it's easiest to choose one of the points on the original shape as the center, followed by, now I know that A is not going to move, so I just need to get A onto A prime, or A double prime, so it's left 1, 2, 3, 4, down 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, followed by a translation, left 4, and down 7. So check for orientation. If it's the same, it's going to be a rotation. Really, it's not going to be a single reflection, but in the context of these, it would be a rotation. And make sure you state the center. That's the most common mistake students do. The degrees, the direction, and the center. Use one of the original points as the center, and then translate the rest of the way. Are the pentagons congruent? Well, if a rotation happened, yes. If a rotation or a translation or a reflection happened, yes. A rotation is a rigid motion, and a rigid motion preserves size and angle measure. That's what you're writing on your exam. A rigid motion preserves size and angle measure. Producing a congruent figure. If you don't write that sentence onto your exam, you're not getting 100. If you are writing it on your exam, you're getting points. Whenever it says to explain why things are congruent after a reflection, a rotation, or a translation happens, you state that it's a rigid motion, and you tell me, a rigid motion preserves size and angle measure, producing a congruent figure. And that's it, my friends. So there are 24 questions on here. I'm sorry, I think I said 22 before, so there's 12 questions on your exam. Make sure you know how to do each of them. It's all here for you. You have the key to refer to as well. For every single one of these questions, you have a full lesson, a video of me going over it, answer key. So there's tons of resources available to you. Utilize them, and that's it. Practice or don't. If you want a good grade, you know what you need to know how to do. Use the resources to make sure you know how to do them, or don't. The choice is yours. Goodbye. Bye.